When I tell people I make $500 an hour, I think they get blown away. I think they either think I'm going to sell them on something that's a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm going to just feed them with a whole bunch of bull crap. And the fact of the matter is, I still can't believe even I get paid that much to do very little work, to be honest with you. And I can tell you, a lot of people look at it and they go, wow, you must either have a full master's degree, or you probably went, you're a tradesman or stuff like that. And while those people absolutely, while I think people who are tradesmen definitely can make that much per hour, especially if they're good at what they do, I didn't go to school. In fact, I actually went in the military. I get free college. I didn't even finish it. I think I went to college for like a year and a half of my time. And the fact of the matter is I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't happy with it. And I can tell you that when I initially started on this journey, before I even got to where I am today, I stumbled a lot. I mean, I've done the whole sitting in my driveway, right? Getting out of the military. And I remember one night just sitting in my driveway, just in tears. I was like, what kind of man am I? My family, we're broke. Like, we're barely making a couple grand a month, and my family's just in massive debt. I felt like my marriage was failing, and I felt like everything was just falling apart. And somehow I pushed through. And I can tell you, it's crazy to see where I'm at now. I still have to pinch myself even to say that I make that much per month. Now, what's funny is when I was researching the title for this episode, I realized I was looking into it like, like $500 per hour. And like, you get a whole plethora of just crap, in my opinion. Like, it's just junk. It's not good information. And while obviously I am no crazy successful person, I'm just a man on a journey who's just sharing as I go along. I got 3 boys, and stuff like this that I'm doing right now, I can't imagine, like, how cool would it be to see someone in your family who is successful later in life, but being able to look back when they start their journey. And that's what I hope for my boys in doing all this work, and also at the same time getting to show voices and opinions of people along the way. But right now I get paid $500 an hour. My name is Cameron Hodge. I am an active real estate agent in 2 states, California and Florida. I also started real estate investing in 2017. My first property was in Yuma, Arizona. If you're in the military, especially in the Marine Corps, you're going to know where that Dust Bowl is. But if you don't, hey, you look it up, Google it. And this is probably the first year that I actually get to crest 6 figures and earn income between my businesses. The bad news is 87% of real estate agents in the first 5 years of business fail because of lack of knowledge and resources. The good news is that there are solutions out there. Me and a partner have stepped out and created the Tired Agent Blueprint. This blueprint is an exact way how to build more leverage in your business and reduce stress in the next 30 days, guaranteed. This course will teach you how to use VAs, raise business credit, and so much more about where you get leads from. How do you actually build a business where you can actually include your family, not push them away, and actually build a real business that you can be proud of, that you can pass on to your kids, and you can create that actual generational wealth and freedom that so many of us have started on this journey to find. But I'm sure if you were just like me, you were in a position where you probably aren't feeling that. So if that's you and you actually want to build leverage in your business, you actually want to build a modern day real estate business, then I promise you this blueprint is for you. Head to tiredagents.com/special. Right now, the course is in the final stages of production. I'm currently buttoning things up with my partner, and we're running a massive special. So go ahead and head to tiredagents.com/special, sign up, get on the email list to be notified when it gets released. And I promise you, if you want to build a leveraged real estate business using modern methods and technology, this is the course that will take you from A to Z and how to do that, and also to include your family even more than you already are. This opportunity to make that much per hour isn't just from doing the real estate activities, because to be honest with you, I'm a very numbers guy. I break down all the numbers, my expenses, the return on my per client, everything. And the fact of the matter is, like, that only sits around $80, $100 per hour, right? If you're a luxury agent, maybe you start to hit that $500 per hour mark. But what's funny is, the one thing I always kept doing, no matter what it was, no matter it was before the military, whether it was in the military, after, whether it was starting my first business and kind of failing really at it, or starting, this endeavor I've been at now, is I have constantly networked and just got myself into rooms that, honestly, I shouldn't be in. But I've never once tried to say like I know everything, and I've always worked to get to where I am at today. And what's funny is through doing those activities, I came across a position where people I'm aligned with, I'm with EXP Realty, people I'm aligned with at my company, they teach how to do YouTube, and that's how they generate their leads. And it came across, like, hey, we love your attitude, we love how you're doing things, and you're actively doing what we're already teaching underneath us. We actually need coaches for our system that we're pushing out. And I was like, sure, yeah, didn't think anything of it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I really could use the cash, right? I mean, at this time, the rates had just jumped in 2022. And I was like, you know what? Things got a little tight here. I'm not going to say no to the opportunity. I actually have some time where I can put into this. And it's like, okay, great. Yeah, it'll be like, you meet with all coaching clients, an hour per client, and we'll pay you, that $500 per hour. And I was like, get out of here, really? And I was kind of taken aback by it, because who am I? I mean, I was only 28 years old. I just had my third child. And in reality, I kind of had some imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I to be making that much? And now the fact of the matter is, am I over here making millions of dollars? No, absolutely not. And I could break down the full numbers of how that they're still getting their ROI, especially. Now, when I do one thing, I do how I do everything. And that's 1,000%. My clients, unfortunately, my family's definitely fallen by the wayside, and I need to be better. But obviously, I took this coaching very seriously, and even then, every month is optimizing. Heck, it took me till now to actually list out now I have my executive assistant who's building out all my coaching clients, and I can track them and see how they're doing, and to bring more value, because obviously, given this opportunity is something I take very highly. But people look at that and go, oh, you just got lucky because you got into a situation where someone needed that position, and you just so happen to be top of mind, ready to take that opportunity. And I can tell you that's a complete, utter bullshit. And the reason I say that is this started over a year prior. Okay. So in 2021, I was leaving my first brokerage, and I was heading into Real Broker, maybe spent a couple months with them, and I realized that this wasn't it. The person I had joined at EXP, I had been watching for a long time. And Jesse, I had him on, a couple episodes ago before this, and you should go back and listen to it, because we agree a lot about what's going on in this country nowadays, how we disagree with a lot of it, and how we're very passionate about this country and the opportunity it gives people. But the reality is I saw him, he had a YouTube channel, and I'm like, you know what? This is the opportunity. I'm going to hop into this, and I'm going to do this. So I reached out to him, and there was no pressure. And I'm like, you know what? Great. This is who I want to be with. And I still was kind of trying to figure myself out. I had just become an independent real estate agent. I was like, I had a couple deals under my belt at that point, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to figure it out. Started doing my YouTube channel for Orlando, because I was getting ready to move there. I was doing stuff in California and San Diego at the same time. And, I really didn't have much money to my name. Like, I had spent all of it on training, or wasted training and coaching that I shouldn't have wasted money on. And I did take some from my family, but not near enough to get us out of the debt that we were accruing during that time. And, what's crazy is I still knew that I had, the doors are always there, and where are they? And I knew that Jesse, hey, I always appreciate you, brother, especially if you end up watching this episode, but I knew, I'm like, hey, how can I get closer into their room? Because Jesse, while he was already starting to build his EXP success, he'd already been there for a little over a year, about a year, and he was actually starting to build his momentum. Agents were joining him, and I'm like, you know what? He's meeting the people I need to get into. And life is, you can look over YouTube, you're going to hear this saying before, and it's completely freaking true. And it's the fact that there are just different rooms. There are different rooms that you are in, and you start at the bottom, and you got to keep working your way up. And to be honest with you, every time you get into a room, you probably shouldn't be there. But how you get in there is how you slowly just work, and you're just willing to learn, and you're not going to be a pompous butthead getting into that position. And, I was always very active on social media inside the group. Obviously, Jesse was nowhere near my market. He was a completely different market, so I couldn't just meet him every day and obviously help him somehow. But I definitely would make sure to preach the gospel. And, what's funny is people think they have to give stuff to people, or they have to work for free. The fact of the matter is, you don't necessarily have to do that. Sure, that I think that's a great way to do it, and I've certainly worked for minimum wage before my first broker, and definitely had a small bonus for doing ISA stuff. But with Jesse, he preached how to do YouTube to build real estate clients and build a business off it that changes lives. And I just went out and did it. And what's funny is knowing what I know now and being in that coaching space of YouTube, I realized that it's actually not that common for people to go out there and do it and to showcase it and to actually be trying. Because I think Jesse knows that I'm not like this top agent closing all these deals, but the effort that I put in is what brought me to where I am now to even have the opportunity. So that's the first thing. I knew what he was doing and I copied it and I did it. The second thing is I am very big. So there's a system out there called Giftology. There's a book you can buy. I highly suggest you get it. I don't care what you're doing, whether it's for your clients, whether it's for business partners, prospects, it doesn't matter. That whole methodology changed my life. And it's really all about active gifting, right? You're not giving a gift with your name on it or your business name or all this junk. You're giving an active gift that's personal, that you can engrave, and that is just like, it's just very well thought out. Does it have to be thousands of dollars? Not necessarily, but it has to be something that's very thought out that just blows them away. And I knew that Jesse, like even at EXP, I had started to meet people that like for those that are in the real estate space, you can look up Mike Sherrard. Randomly got a call from Mike because Jesse told him, hey, this kid was at Real Broker. Maybe he could have something to help you with your video you're about to do. And I had like a half-hour conversation with Mike Sherrard, right? Millionaire. And I got to talk with him. Great guy. And it's just awesome. And I knew that I wanted to give something back to Jesse. So, I kind of knew where he lived. And I knew that he had 2 dogs, was very obsessed with them. Or one dog, at the time, Calvin. And I was like, you know what? I know he loves to cook, and I know his dog, Calvin, means a lot to him. So I got a Yeti dog bowl that was laser etched with Calvin's name on it. And yes, Yeti does make dog bowls. And yes, they're insanely expensive dog bowl just to hold water. But I had to do it. So I got that, ordered it to my house, went out, Cutco. Cutco knives are freaking fantastic. I promise you, if you ever want to get a gift or even knives for yourself, I love Cutco knives. They're awesome. But I went out, I got engraved with his training company's name and then Revolutionizing Real Estate. Got that, boom. Then I packaged it together once it got to my house, shipped it to his door randomly. I knew he was doing coaching and training because obviously in our Facebook group, we're always active talking about that stuff. And I knew, all right, he said he was gonna be back around this time, shipped it. It was there when he had got back. And it blew him away. And what's funny is I gave that gift, just like in Giftology, I didn't expect anything in return. That gift was actually completely meaningful and thought out. Like I spent a couple $100 on that gift, right? When it was all said and done. And I really didn't have much money to my name. I think I spent it all on a credit card, to be honest with you. And I had no regrets with it. Because even the success that I had and the knowledge, that the skills I were building were because he had convinced me to join EXP. He didn't really convince me, but he opened that door to me, right? I got interviewed on his podcast. All of this stuff happened, and I got to be so blessed to be in a position that I had to give back. I had to say thank you, and that was how I did it. And then that was like another big step. After that, I was like, I happened to be in Phoenix for a friend's wedding. And there was a meetup, a huge event for all the people, real estate agents doing YouTube. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? My buddy was having his wedding. I'm like, hey man, love you. I know we're best friends. I have to go to this. So my wife and kids went out and hung out with a friend that she had in the city. And I drove and went to the meetup. I didn't even go to the event. I wish I should have, but I knew I had to meet them in person. I had to put a face and be like, hey, like I got here. I'm here. I am here to just meet you guys and network. And I did that. And it was awesome. I mean, I'm still friends with most of the people I met just at that meetup outside. And what's funny is all those things, I mean, look at that. I mean, that was like a year or a little over a year of all of that stuff. Not to mention the work I did the year before that. So 2 years of being a licensed agent to get to this point. And then I got that opportunity opened up to me. So what's funny is like people always like to talk about how I make $500 a day and how everyone can freaking do it. Look, the fact of the matter is like, it's really hard to make a business and system like that's repeatable immediately. Is it impossible? Heck no. There's a ton of ways to do it, and not all those people that do it are fake. The fact of the matter is though, is that people always negate the fundamentals that I think are so important in life, and that comes back to people. networking. Like, I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what you're doing. Your network is your net worth. And it sounds stupid and cliche, but like now at this point, it's really freaking true. Like, if I have an issue in my business, isn't it nice that you know who to call? Like, you know what? They have more experience. Like, this is my chance. I'm going to ask them for some support. But you're not crying, you're not complaining, you're not trying to do all these things, and it can lead to opportunities like this. But also, you have to be in the right rooms. What's funny is, believe it or not, when you end up working your way up to rooms that have people doing bigger and bigger stuff, like I'm getting paid that much per hour to support his clients and lean into his company and support his mission. Sure, I want to create my own mission. I'm really passionate about that. But the fact of the matter is, I really believe what he's doing. It's changed my life and my business to have clients calling me that I love. They love me. They vetted me. Like, that is life changing. So I believe in his mission. And I was like, absolutely, I have the time to do it. And I don't take it for granted. Every single day is something that I am so happy to have done. And, you know, man, what's funny now is, you know, those opportunities come up, but you're going to have to eat shit. And you have to kind of deal with stuff and work through it. But you also can get to this point where you now have the ability to leverage these opportunities. And, you know, what's funny is like, you know, that's $500 just for an hour of work. And then you multiply that by 8-9 coaching clients. And, you know, that's not a bad income, right? I mean, that's nuts. Especially coming from someone who's in the military. Now, we don't make no money, but it's not a lot. And to be in that position to where like I can still maximize time with my family and do that and have that income is freaking mind-blowing, right? And what's even crazier is when I see what I'm making, and this is why has led into what I'm doing now. You know, it's gonna be coming out here by the time this episode airs. It will be out, at least coming soon. But I started a new company called the Tired Agents because there are enough agents like myself who we're fathers, we're parents, mothers, you know, or we're working a job trying to make it happen. And we're told you have to waste all these hours. You have to waste all these hours cold calling and doing all this. Now, look, guess what? You're in sales. You can't avoid the phone. You can't avoid having to sell people, going on listing appointments. Hey, if you want to be active in the business, you're going to have to do it. But there are so many ways to, when you're a busy individual, to not fuck your family and actually be able to push forward and do that next thing. And that's why this company, me and one of my business partners have created, is because he's active duty Navy. He is more than capped at EXP. I am actually on the come up, and I've learned a lot along the way. I have 2 virtual assistants on my team. Obviously Brave, thank you, man, doing all the video editing behind the scenes, running my YouTube channels. I have, right now I have Justine. She's my new hire. She's my executive assistant. She's handling all client care and also keeping me focused. She's the other half of my brain. And I have no doubt great things will come from that. But it's all because of the opportunity, making that $500 an hour, to where I realized, 2 things. One, it wasn't just the $500 an hour that was so important with that position. It was more than that. It's not just the money. There's always money to be made, right? It's the fact that I got to see, I'm like, wait, I'm making that much. How much are you making? Whoa, that's how you're doing that? That's how that works? And I start putting the pieces together, because that's just how I am. I always dissect things. I always got to see, like, how is this working? Why does it work that way? Like, I'm just always curious. I'm always curious and trying to learn more. And that's when and then all of a sudden, again, at that same time, one of my other friends on Facebook who I know from the Marine Corps, he's out there crushing it. He teaches people how to raise business credit. His company has done over $1 million in sales, and he also repairs credit. Awesome, right? And he gave me his course for free in raising business credit. But then we started talking. He's like, look, man, I see what you're doing. I said, that's awesome. 500, that's great, man. It's like, well, you know what? It sounds like you have a lot of experience in like being busy as a father, and you're kind of starting to now figure out how to leverage VAs and funding to get your life back, and your business is still growing. And I'm like, it's kind of a good point. And now that $500 an hour isn't just money. Now it's that one thing who sparked the idea. And then I got into another room with a good buddy doing the same virtual thing, who's like, dude, why don't you give it a shot, man? Create something. if you create something so good, maybe they will come, and we'll see. But the Tired Agents is my giving back to the community. Obviously, agents who join me will get immediate access to the course and group support. It's going to be a whole community, because I'm tired of being told I have to do something a certain way. The fundamentals always exist, but marketing is marketing, and things change all the time. And I am tired of being told I have to do something a certain way when I see other people doing it. And heck, I'm even trying some new things right now to make it work to help that community as it grows. But to wrap everything up, what you need to understand is it's not always about getting a degree or doing that right job. Now, it might get you there, but to really make those high dollars per hour, it's your network. It's who you know, right? Now, like I said, like there's always like the great questions. Like, would you rather have $1 million or have a million best friends, right? And for me, I'd rather have the million friends. Because if they are dedicated and loyal to you, even if they don't specifically buy whatever you're selling, they're gonna know someone who needs that. And life is just a numbers game. If you know, the more people you know, the more eyes you can get on you, the higher likelihood you have of attracting your actual clients and getting in the door. And I can tell you that, like I said, that $500 an hour, very thankful of it, and every day I wake up and I have that opportunity, I am forever thankful, because it allows me to continue to grow and focus on what I need to, while also supporting my family, and while I also continue to grow my real estate business. Maybe I can dial back holding my funds towards me to support my family, and maybe more real estate funds can now go into growing that business faster, right? Especially during this tightening economy. And that's what it is. It's not just the $500 per hour. If there's anything I want to leave you with, it's that it's more than that. But to get those opportunities, you have to meet people. You have to get out there, provide value. And ultimately, every single room of people is going to have a different thing they need. Maybe they are okay with free time. Heck, maybe they're good with just seeing, hey, this is what I teach. Holy cow, you actually did what I taught and it worked for you. Because most people will never go through that step. Most people are out there looking for something. Like when I sent that gift to Jesse, I expected nothing in return. It was an honest thank you. And really, life is all about the energy you give out. I really do believe you'll get back. But of course, you have to put in the work to do that. So I hope you got value in this video. I hope it brought you insight. Like I said, you can always reach me down in the comments below. You can reach out to my email, which is always down there, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Cameron P. Hodge, on almost all platforms. I think on TikTok, unfortunately, it was taken. So it is the Cameron P. Hodge. But I hope you got value in this one, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.